Good morning, and once again, welcome back, my dear students. As I told you in my last class, we are not going to continue with the play The Tempest, but we are going to start with a new story from the book Icos. Let us begin. Lesson number 9, The Sound Machine, on page number 99 in your textbook. Hope everyone is ready with the book and the lesson. Here, in the lesson, the protagonist of the story, Mr. Clounsler, a scientist, was stuck with a fantastic notion. According to him, the world is filled with full of noises, full of sounds, most of which are inaudible to the human ears. He feels if a sound has a vibration of more than 15,000 per second, human ears cannot perceive it, human ears cannot hear it. So, he makes a machine with the help of which he tries to hear all the inaudible sounds in the universe. Let's see whether he is going to be successful in his attempt. Let's begin. Lesson number 9, The Sound Machine. It was a warm summer evening, and Clounsler walked quickly through the front gate and around the side of the house and into the garden at the back. He went on down the garden until he came to a wooden shed, and he unlocked the door, went inside and closed the door behind him. So it was a warm summer evening, and Clounsler, as I have already told you, the protagonist of the story, the main character of the story, walked quickly. He was almost running. He was in a hurry through the front gate and around the side of the house and into the garden at the back. So there was a garden which was situated behind his house. So he ran towards the garden. Let's see what happened. He went on down the garden until he came to a wooden shed. He ran towards the garden and he stopped at the place where there was a shed made of wood, a wooden shed, and he unlocked the door and went inside and closed the door behind him. So he opened the door of the wooden shed, entered inside, and he locked the door once again, being inside it. The interior of the shed was an unpainted room. Against one wall, on the left, there was a long wooden workbench, and on it, among a littering wires and batteries and small sharp tools, there stood a black box about 3 feet long, the shape of a child's coffin. So the interior of the shed was an unpainted room. We have already seen. He entered inside a wooden shed. He locked the door. And the writer now describes about the interior of that room. It was not painted room at all. The interior of the shed was unpainted room. Against one wall on the left, there was a long wooden workbench. Very, very important. There was a workbench. There was a bench which was placed for the purpose of his work. It was almost like a workplace for him in the workbench. And on it, among the littering of wires, littering over here means spreading all over the untidy materials, on among the littering of wires and batteries and the small sharp tools, there were so many things which were spread over there. There were so many wires, there were so many small batteries and small sharp tools. There stood a black box about 3 feet long. So there was a black box which was placed among, which is very important for us. So there were so many things which littered around, and in between that there was a box which was black in color, which was 3 feet long, the shape of a child's coffin, which resembled like the shape of a coffin which can be used for a small baby. Clounsler moved across the room to the box. The top of the box was open, and he bent down and began to poke and peer inside it among a mass of different colored wires and silver tubes. he picked up a piece of paper that lay beside the box, studied it carefully, put it down, peered inside the box and started running his fingers along the wires, tugging gently at them to test the connections, glancing back at the paper, then into the box, then at the paper again, checking each wire. He did this for perhaps an hour. Counselor moved across the room to the box. So we have already seen there was a box which was of 3 feet long, which was placed on the workbench. He moved it towards, which was in the shape of the coffin for a child. Now he moves towards the box. Counselor moved across the room to the box. The top of the box was open, so the upper part of the box was kept open, and he bent down and began to poke and peer inside. He started pushing. That's the meaning of the word poke over here. He started push in the direction of something and peer inside it, and he started looking eagerly inside the box among the mass of different colored wires, which was filled with the multicolored wires. The box that was filled with so many wires, which was of different colors, multi-layered wires and silver tubes, and there were so many silver tubes inside, which could be like the small condensers. He picked up a piece of paper that lay beside the box, studied it carefully, put it down, peered inside the box and started running his fingers along the wires. So there was a paper which was placed just beside the box. He just picked up the paper. He started going through the paper. Once again, let's see that. He picked up a piece of paper that lay beside the box. So there was a paper which was just beside the box. He just picked it up, studied it carefully. He started observing the paper very keenly, very carefully. After that, he put it down, peered inside the box, and he started looking carefully inside the box and started running his fingers along the wires. And he started running his fingers along the wires, just testing, tugging gently, and he started tugging some of the wires. Tug over here means pull very gently. He started pulling the wires gently at them to test the connection, because he wanted to know whether all the the wires are being connected properly. That is what he wanted to check it. He wanted to know whether some wires have some loose connection. So he started just tugging it gently at them to test the connection, glancing back at the paper. After that, once again he took the paper and started going through it. The paper must be a preparation of maybe a framework of what he has already prepared in the form of a black wooden box. Then into the box. So he started keenly observing the paper, and immediately after that his eyes moved to the box which was kept there, the black box which was kept there, then at the paper again. So he started going through the paper once again, checking each wire, and he started checking each wire whether they are properly connected. He did this for perhaps an hour, and it continued, looking into the paper, tugging the wires, running his fingers through it, and all this process. And immediately after that, once again he takes the paper and he goes through it, and he tugged the wires, whether the connections are appropriately done. So this process went on almost an hour. Then he put a hand around the front of the box where there were 3 dials, and he began to twiddle them, watching at the same time the movement of the mechanism inside the box. All the while, he kept speaking softly to himself, nodding his head, smiling sometimes, his hands always moving, the fingers moving swiftly, deftly inside the box, his mouth twisting into curious shapes when a thing was delicate or difficult to do, saying, yes, yes, and now this one, yes, yes, but is this right? It is. Where is my diagram? Oh yes, of course. Yes, yes, that is right. And now, good, yes, 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 yes. His concentration was intense. His movements were quick. There was an air of urgency about the way he worked, of breathlessness, of strong, suppressed excitement. Then he put a hand around the front of the box where there were 3 dials. So there were 3 dials which were fixed, almost like the face of the clock. That's what the meaning of the word dials. So there were 3 dials, maybe 3 knobs, which was placed just in front of the box. Let's see what happened. Then he put a hand around to the front of the box where there were 3 dials and began to twiddle them. Twiddle means turn nervously. He started turning these knobs. He started turning these dials nervously, watching at the same time the movement of the mechanism inside the box. When he started moving the knob, he wanted to know what is taking place inside the box. So he started observing, watching at the same time the movement of the mechanism inside the box. He started just twisting the dials which was placed in front of the box, which resembled the shape of a small child's coffin. He started moving these knobs. The moment he moved the knobs, he started observing what was taking place, what reaction that was taking place inside the box. All the while he kept on speaking softly to himself. And whenever he was doing some work over there, he was going on speaking all alone. He started speaking to himself. There is nobody in his room. He is all alone in his room, and he started speaking to himself, nodding his head. And there were certain occasions he started nodding, shaking his head, smiling sometimes. When the things were as he expected, he started smiling at time. His hands always moving. His hands never rested. Every moment his hand was making one or the other movement. His hands always moving, the fingers moving swiftly, deftly. Deftly means very skillfully. His hands started moving very, very swiftly, very fastly, as well as in a skillful manner. That's the meaning of the word deftly. Deftly means very skillfully. He started moving his hands so fastly as well as very, very skillfully inside the box, and his mouth twisting into curious shapes when a thing was delicate or difficult to do. When there were certain things which was difficult for him to handle, difficult to control, when it was difficult for him to manage, he started making different shapes on his mouth. Once again, let's see that. His mouth twisting into curious shapes when a thing was difficult or delicate to do, saying, yes, yes. And he started consoling himself. As I have already told that he has started speaking to himself. So there were occasions when the things were proper. He used to say, yes, yes. And now this one, he is speaking to himself. He does some works over there. And he says that, yes, now I have to make the arrangements over here. And now this one, yes, yes. But is this right? At the same time, he was doubtful. Whatever he does is right. If whatever he does is right. But is this right? It is. And after that he says, yes, it is right. He asked the question and he himself answers. He asked whether it is right. And immediately after that he feels that what he does is appropriate. And therefore he says, yes, it is. Where is my diagram? And he started questioning himself. Where is my diagram? Diagram means the paper which was kept just beside the box, on which he used to look on and off. So he started trying to find out where the diagram which he had already prepared to test that whether it is matching with the work that he has already done in the wooden box. Yeah, yes, of course. Yes, yes, that is right. And after that he looked into the diagram and he looked once again back to the machine which was kept in front of him, and he finds that all his work is successful. That is right. And now, good. Yes. He is quite satisfied with the work that he has already done so far. And therefore he says, yes. And he also says the words, good. His concentration was intense. Concentration was very extreme. Intense concentration the man had. Though he was talking to himself, his concentration, the writer says that his concentration was very, very intense. Extreme concentration he had. A kind of severe concentration he had in the work that he was doing. His movements were quick. We already saw that his hands started moving skillfully as well as quickly. His movements were quick. There was an air of urgency about the way he worked, and he was doing everything so quickly. That is what the writer speaks here. There was an air of urgency about the way he worked. He wanted to accomplish the work as early as possible from his side. Of breathlessness, a kind of astonishment, suspense and astonishment. That is what the meaning of the word over here, breathlessness. The word breathlessness brings out the meaning as a kind of suspense, a kind of astonishment, a strong suppressed excitement. It was such a kind of excitement which was almost like a suppressed excitement. Suddenly he heard footsteps on the gravel path outside, and he straightened and turned swiftly as the door opened and a tall man came in. It was Scott. It was only Scott, the doctor. Well, 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 the doctor said. So this is where you hide yourself in the evening. Hello, Scott, counselor said. So we already know the man was very busy he was totally involved in his work. He was with full of concentration. The writer used the term as intense concentration. He was doing his work, and that was the time somebody came to interrupt him. Let's see. Suddenly he heard footsteps on the gravel path outside. Somebody is walking around on the stone. The sound was produced by, and he wanted to know who is outside. Path outside, and he straightened and turned swiftly as the door opened, and a tall man came in. So the stranger came immediately. He opened the door and got inside the room where counselor was. It was Scott. It was only Scott, the doctor. It was none but the doctor. So the name of the doctor is Scott. So counselor recognized the man who came inside the room. It was none but Mr. Scott, the doctor. Well, 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 the doctor said. So this is where you hide yourself in the evening. So the doctor came and he starts his conversation saying that, well, 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 this is a place where you used to hide yourself in the evening. Hello, Scott, counselor said. Counselor did not respond to what the doctor asked. The doctor asked him a question. Is this the place where you used to hide yourself in the evening? He did not give any answer to the doctor. Instead, he wishes him, hello, Scott, counselor said. He said nothing. He just wished him back, hello, Scott. Then the doctor responds, I happened to be passing, the doctor told him, so I dropped in to see how you were. There was no one inside the house, so I came down over here, and here is that thought of how is that thought of yours been behaving. So the doctor says, I happened to be passing. I was just passing through this way, the doctor says. The doctor told him, I happened to pass through this way, so I dropped in. So I thought of to inquire how you are. I dropped in to see how you were. I wanted to know how you are. Maybe counselor was suffering from some kind of illness, and therefore the doctor wanted to know whether his patient is all right now. That is what the doctor says. So I dropped in to see how you are. There was no one in the house, so I came on down here. And he says that when I came in front of your house, I found no one there. So therefore I came down here. So therefore, searching you, trying to find out where you are, I came to this place. How is that throat of yours been behaving? And the doctor asked him, how is your throat? Which means counselor was suffering from some kind of problem at his throat, maybe sore throat or something like that. So the doctor wanted to know whether his throat is behaving well now. So that is what the doctor asked, whether his throat is all right by now. It's all right, it's fine. Counselor responds, it's fine. He said that it is perfectly all right now. Now I am here. I might as well have a look at it. The doctor says that since I have reached here, anyway, I have reached to your place, so let me just check your throat once again. That is what the doctor says. Now, I am here, I might as well have a look at it. Since I am here, I would like to have a look at your throat. Please don't trouble, I am quite cured, I am fine. Counselor is not ready to accept what the doctor said. The doctor told that he will investigate whether his throat is perfectly all right. He will just check whether the throat is all right. But counselor says, please don't trouble. So he is telling to the doctor that you are troubling me. Please don't trouble me. I'm quite cured. I'm fine. He says that I'm perfectly all right by now. My throat doesn't hurt me at all. That is what counselor spoke to the doctor. The doctor began to feel the tension in the room. He looked at the black box on the bench. Then he looked at the man. You have got your hat on, he said. The doctor began to feel a kind of tension inside the room. He understood that something is not fine here. Everything is not all right here. That is what the doctor feels. He looked at the black box on the bench. So the doctor started looking at the black box which was kept on the workbench of counselor. Then he looked at the man, and after that he looked at the man. First he looked at the black box and he turned it towards counselor as he understood that the things are not perfectly all right. There is some kind of tension that is going on inside the room. That is what the doctor very distinctly and very clearly understood. And after observing counselor, the doctor says, you have got your hat on. He said, he told that, why are you wearing your hat when you are inside the room? Counselor was having his hat on. The doctor observed that, and therefore the doctor says, you are not outside at all, you are inside the room. And why are you wearing the hat? That is what the doctor asked him. Oh, have I? Counselor reached up, removed the hat and put it on the bench. He was unaware that he had the hat on. So therefore he says, once again let's see, oh, have I? Am I wearing the hat? He was unaware that he was wearing the hat. Counselor reached up, removed the hat and put on the bench. He took out the hat and placed it on the same workbench. The doctor came up closer and bent down to look into the box. What is this? He said, making a radio. The doctor came, he walked towards the black box which was kept on the workbench of counselor. He reached very closer to the box. He started peering inside the box, and after that he says, he bent down to look into the box. He bent himself down in order to see what was there inside the box. What is this? He said, making a radio. What is it inside this box? Since it was filled with so many wires as well as silver tubes, that's what I have already told you, that like that of condensers. Small silver tubes that were fixed inside, as well as different multicolored wires that was fixed inside, as if it is seen in the radio. So therefore the doctor asked him, what are you making? Are you planning to make a radio? That is what the doctor asked him. Making a radio? Are you making a radio? No. Counselor says, no, just fooling around. He says that, no, I'm not making a radio at all. I'm just fooling around. Some funny business I'm doing. He did not want to disclose what he was doing. So therefore he says that it's not serious like a person making radio. Some funny business. That's the only thing I'm doing here. Counselor says he doesn't want to reveal at all what he does here. Then the doctor says, it has got a rather complicated looking innards. Innards means inside. The doctor says that the inner part is highly complicated. The inner part of the box that you are making. He told that I am making something just fooling. That is what counselor said. The doctor says that, but the inner part of it is highly complicated. Once again, let's see how he speaks here. It has got rather complicated looking innards. The machine's inner part has got full of complicated look. Yes, counselor seemed tense and distracted. Counselor seemed to be little distracted. Counselor did not want to disclose what he was making, and the doctor was going on asking again and again what the man is preparing here, and therefore the man was little distracted. So therefore he says, yes, counselor seemed tense and distracted. He was little diverted. He was little distracted. What is it? The doctor asked. It's rather a frightening looking thing, isn't it? So the doctor once again asked counselor, what is it? It has got a kind of a terrifying outlook. That is what the doctor once again here says. What is it? The doctor asked. It has rather a frightening looking thing. It seems to be something very, very frightening. Its appearance is quite terrifying. That is what the doctor asked, isn't it? Doesn't look like that, doesn't have a frightening appearance. The doctor asked the man who himself has made it. It is just an idea. Counselor says that as the doctor asked him what it is, it has got a frightening outlook. The doctor was very, very curious. The doctor wanted to know what the man was working at. So, counselor says it is just an idea. He says that an idea I am trying to execute. He says that it's merely an idea. I'm trying to execute something, and it has been because of an idea that is struck into my mind. That is what he says. It is just merely an idea. Yes, the doctor agrees. Yes, it has to do with the sound. That's all. The only thing more what counselor thought of telling is it has to do with the sound. That's all. It is related to sound. Counselor says that it is related to sound and nothing else. The thing that I am making has got something to do with the sound. That's the only thing this machine is. He thought of stopping by it, but the doctor did not stop over there. Let's see what he says. Good heavens, man. Don't you got enough of that sort of thing all the day in your work? The doctor says, good heavens. The doctor started wondering. The man says that it has to do something with the sound. So therefore the doctor says, good heavens, man. Don't you get enough of that sort of thing? That sort of thing the doctor means over here. Are you not troubled with the sound? That sort of thing means what the man was talking about. The man was talking about it has to do something with the sound. Are you not troubled with the sound all the day around? That is what doctor asked him. Once again, good heavens, man. Don't you get enough of that sort of thing all day in your work? Are you not troubled with the sound every day, all your working days? Are you not troubled with it? Are you not happy with the sound that you experience each moment in your life? Let's see what he responds. He says, I like sound. Counselor says that I'm fond of sound. So it seems the doctor went to the door, turned and said, well, I won't disturb you. Glad your throat is not worrying you anymore. But he kept standing there, looking at the box, intrigued by the remarkable complexity of its inside, curious to know what this strange patient of his was up to. What is it really for? He asked. You have made me inquisitive. So as he told that, I like sound. That was the response of counselor. As the doctor asked him, are you not troubled with the sound in your daily activities? In response to that, counselor said that I am fond of sound. Let's see what the doctor says. So it seems to me exactly like that. The doctor went to the door, turned and said. So the doctor acted as if he is moving out. The doctor thought that he would go out of. Let's see what the doctor says. The doctor went to the door, turned and said, well, I won't disturb you. Glad your throat is not worrying you anymore. Okay, you continue with your work. I'm not going to trouble you any longer. That is what the doctor told him. Let's see once again. Well, I won't disturb you. Glad your throat is not worrying you anymore. I'm happy that your throat is perfectly alright. It doesn't worry you anymore. But he kept standing there, looking at the box, intrigued by the remarkable complexity of its inside. The doctor started to move out. He told that, I'm not disturbing you anymore. And I am happy that your throat is perfectly alright. But he did not move from there. Once again, let's see what happened here. But he kept standing there. He moved as if he is moving out of the room, but he stood there for some more time, looking at the box. He was very, very curious to know what that black box was. So therefore, he stood there. He started glancing at the box, intrigued by the remarkable complexity of its inside. Intrigued over here means getting highly interested. He was very, very curious to know what it is. Once again, the meaning of the word intrigued. Intrigued means getting interested to. He was highly interested to what this remarkable complexity of its inside. Remarkable over here means great complexity inside the box. He found innumerable multicolored wires inside the box, filled with so many small silver tubes and two, three knobs outside the box. All this made him something great complexity that the box was having on it, inside of it. Once again, let's see that. Intrigued by the remarkable complexity of its inside, curious to know what this strange patient of his was up to, and he wanted to know what this strange patient of him wants to do. Already we know that he is a scientist. So scientists are not normal like that of us. They behave strangely, and that is the reason the doctor wanted to know what his strange patient wanted to do with the help of this machine. And therefore, though he wanted to move out, he came closer to the door as if he was going to move out of the room, but he remained there. Once again, he looked inside the box, and he was highly taken aback by the complexity of that great box which was placed on the workbench of Mr. Counselor, and he asked him, what is it really for? Once again, he asked Counselor really what it is, though Counselor told that it's an idea. That was the only thing Counselor has revealed related to this box. And it has to do something with the sound, nothing else he said. The doctor did not understand what this box stands for. So therefore, very clearly he asked him, what is it really for? He asked, you have made me inquisitive. Inquisitive means curious. You have made me absolutely curious. So therefore, I wanted to know what this strange box is. Counselor looked down at the box, then at the doctor, and he reached up and began gently to scratch the lobe of his right ear. There was a pause. The doctor stood by the door, waiting, smiling. So, Counselor looked down at the box as the doctor asked him, tell me what really it stands for. What is it? You have made me inquisitive. That is what the doctor told to his patient. That is Mr. Counselor. And Counselor here says, Counselor looked down at the box and then at the doctor. He was totally confused. He was in a dilemma whether he has to reveal it to the doctor. That was the dilemma Counselor was undergoing. Counselor looked down at the box and then at the doctor, and he reached up and began gently to scratch the lobe of his right ear. So he looked at the box, he looked at the doctor. And after that he started scratching the lobe of his ear, the lower part of his ear. He started scratching, because that shows a kind of tension he was undergoing. Counselor was doubtful whether he has to reveal what this box stands for. The doctor is highly inquisitive, and the man, that is Mr. Counselor, doesn't know whether he has to reveal what this machine stands for at the present moment to anyone. So therefore he started scratching the lobe of his ear, scratched the lobe of his right ear. There was a pause. He did not speak anything at all. Neither he nor the doctor. So there was a pause there, and the doctor stood by the door, waiting, smiling. The doctor remained at the same place. He was very close to the door. As if he was moving out of the room, he stood there and he asked, you made me inquisitive, and tell me what it is. And the man is doubtful. He is in a great dilemma whether he has to accept in reality what this machine is. And he started scratching the lobe of his ear. All this indicates a kind of tension that he was undergoing. That was the reason he was looking into the black box. And immediately after that, he started looking at the doctor. And he started scratching the lobe of his ear, and there was a continuous pause for some time. The doctor stood by the door, waiting, smiling. The doctor remained there, though there was a pause. Though the man did not speak anything at all. The only reaction that was on the man was full of tension. The doctor understood it very well, but he remained there just smiling. Alright, I will tell you if you are interested. After having taken some pause, he says, alright, I will tell you if you are interested. If you are highly interested, I will tell you what this machine is. There was another pause. And the doctor could see that Counselor was having trouble about how to begin. The doctor understood. So he told that if you are highly interested, I will tell you what the machine stands for. That's what Counselor told it to the doctor. And after that there was a long pause. And the doctor very well understood that he had some starting trouble. The man does not know from where to begin with, how to start with. That is what the doctor realizes. So there was another pause, and the doctor could see that Counselor was having trouble about how to begin. Doctor understood very well that the man is very, very doubtful how to begin with. He was shifting from one foot to the another, tugging at the lobe of his ear, looking at his feet, and then at last slowly he said, well, it's like this. The theory is very simple, really. The human ear, you know that it can't hear everything. There are sounds that are so low pitched or so high pitched that it can't hear them. So then now the man starts. Let's see what he says. He was shifting from one foot to the another. The man started shifting from one foot to the another. All these indicate the tension that a counselor was undergoing. We have already seen he started scratching the lobe of his ear. And now he started moving from one foot to the another. All these indicate the tension that the man was undergoing. He is uncertain what will happen if he reveals what this machine stands for, what the purpose of this machine is. So he started moving from one foot to the another, tugging at the lobe of his ear, again pulling. Earlier he was scratching the lobe of his ear. Now he started pulling, tugging the lobe of his ear, looking at his feet, and he started looking down at his feet, and then at last slowly he said, and after a long pause, at last, very slowly he says, well, it is like this. Yes, it is like this. Again we see that few dots are placed there. It very clearly indicates that he pauses there. Still he pauses, and let's see what he says. It is like this. The theory is very simple, really. He says that the theory of this machine is very simple. Truly speaking, the theory of the working of this machine is so simple. There are sounds that are so high pitched and so low pitched that it can't hear them. He says that you know that. So once again, let's see that. The human ear, again he says the human ear, and pauses for a while. You know that it can't hear everything. Counselor says that human ear can't hear everything. There are sounds that are so low pitched or so high pitched that it can't hear them. He says that there are sounds which are so low pitched as well as high pitched. The human ear cannot grasp, human ear cannot hear it at all. The doctor says, yes. The doctor said yes. As counselor told that, you know, there are so many sounds that take place over there in the universe. If the sound is so low pitched as well as it is so high pitched, human ear cannot hear it. Doctor agrees to it. He says yes. The doctor said yes. Well, speaking very roughly, any note so high that it has more than 15,000 vibrations a second, we can't hear it. Dogs have better ears than us. You know, you can buy a whistle whose note is so high pitched that you can't hear it at all, but a dog can hear it. Yes, I have seen one, the doctor said. Once again, let's see, counselor continues here. Well, speaking very roughly, any note so high pitched that it has more than 15,000 vibrations a second. He says that the vibration, shaking movement of the sound, if it is more than 15,000 per second. Once again, let's see, according to counselor, the universe is filled with the innumerable voices, innumerable sounds, which are quite inaudible to the human ears. He says, suppose there is a vibration, suppose there is a sound which has got the vibration above 15,000 per second. He says that human ear cannot hear it at all. Humans cannot hear such kind of sounds at all if the vibration is more than 15,000 per second. We can't hear it. That is what he says. Such kind of sounds we can't hear at all. Dogs have better ears than us. Sometimes these sounds may be audible to the dogs because their ears are far better than that of the human ears. If the vibration is above 15,000, very important point to be noted, per second. If the vibration goes on above 15,000 per second, according to counselor, human ear cannot hear it at all. But dogs may be able to hear it because he says dogs have better hearing capacity. They have better ears. That is what he uses here. Dogs have better ears than us. You know, you can buy a whistle whose note is so high pitched that you can't hear it at all. But a dog can hear it. He says that you can buy so high pitched whistle. You blow the whistle The whistle might be producing the sound, but you will not be able to grasp it at all, because the vibration produced by the whistle will be more than that of 15,000 per second. Therefore, you will not be able to hear such kind of sound, but a dog is able to hear. And the doctor agrees, yes, I have seen one. He says that I have seen such a kind of a whistle. Of course you have. And up the scale, higher than the note of that whistle, there is another note. A vibration, if you like, but I prefer to think of it as a note. You can't hear that one either. And above that there is another and another, rising right up the scale forever and ever and ever. An endless succession of notes. An infinity of notes. There is a note, if only our ears could hear it, so high that it vibrates 1,000,000 times a second, and another 1,000,000 times as high as that, and so on, higher and higher, as far as numbers go, which is infinity, eternity, beyond the stars. Let's see what he speaks here. Of course you have. As the doctor told that, yes, I have heard about that. There are whistles which when you blow may produce the sound, but human ear cannot hear it at all. The doctor agrees to it, and therefore the man says, counselor says, of course you have. Yes, you must have heard about such kind of whistles, counselor says, and up to the scale higher than the note of that whistle, there is another note. He says that further there is higher notes than the note which is produced, a sound variation, vibration which is produced by the whistle. There is higher notes, and he says that a vibration, if you like, but I prefer to think of it as a note. He says that it's a vibration, but I prefer to call this vibration as a note. Counselor says that they are the vibration, but I would like to call this term vibration as notes, as we call the musical notes. That is what he says there. I would prefer to call this vibration as notes. Once again, a vibration, if you like, but I prefer to think of it as a note. You can't hear that one either. He says that you can't hear such kind of vibration which is higher than the whistle which we have already described here. And above that there is another and another, rising right up the scale forever and ever and ever. He says that there are higher sounds than that. It goes on higher and higher and higher, and he uses the term over here, the scale forever and ever and ever. An endless succession of notes. It's an endless succession of vibration. He prefers to call the term vibration here as notes. An infinity of notes, an infinity, endless, that is what he uses here. He says here, there is a note, if only our ears could hear it. It's a wish. If such a kind of noise, our ears could hear it. I wish that we are able to hear such kind of sound, so high that it vibrates 1,000,000 times a second. There are sounds which vibrate 1,000,000 times a second. As he has already told that if the vibration goes on more than that of 15,000 per second, human ear cannot hear. And he hears us that there are sounds which produces the vibration more than that of millions, whereas 1,000,000 times a second, and another 1,000,000 times as high as that. Then again another 1,000,000, higher than that of the 1,000,000 which we have already mentioned here, and another 1,000,000 times as high as that, and on, higher and higher. The vibration goes on higher and higher as far as the numbers go. Infinitely, as the numbers are endless, so is the way that the vibration goes on higher and higher, which is infinity, eternity, beyond the stars. That is infinity numbers, beyond the stars they are. The vibration is beyond the stars. So let us stop here for the day, and we will continue the next class, the rest. May I remind you to go through the textbook once again. The story what we have seen, up to where we have seen, I request you to go through it at least once or 2 times.